Okay, good. We're back, and a little technical glitch there. Not that we've ever experienced that before.
If you missed any part of this, you didn't miss anything, right? I mean,
it was great. But yeah, you came by the radio station earlier this morning. We had a good time.
We did.
I don't remember, as you said. I mean, I forgot about the ch. And I can't remember much of what we talked about, except that it occurred to me, and I think you were in agreement.
Yes.
And I don't know if everybody in our audience remembers this guy, but the great music giant Phil Spector, who whacked a few people, I think, under some very peculiar circumstances at his home. He had a mansion in L.A., and he was the guy that was responsible for the Wall of Sound. What exactly was that? Do you remember?
Be my little baby. Yeah, they'd have it echoing. And
that whole thing was going on.
No,
and he was a mastermind. He was a genius, but like a lot of geniuses, he was also eccentric and pretty much a criminal.
I thought he looked a little bit like Cher with some of those wigs he was wearing to the trial.
Yeah, that was did you see that documentary or whatever that was? It was some kind of dramatic depiction of what went on. And he was wearing just a wild assortment of wigs, including one that looked like Don King meets Art Garfunkel.
Yeah.
It was like a weird yellow Jimi Hendrix thing that he had going.
Yeah, no, it was great, right?
And I think Tom Brady is starting to morph into Phil Spector, that Phil Spector. Because he's become, we've discussed this before, he seems to be delusional. In the latest business, they released some of his stuff, the feds.
What's been going on? I kind of lost interest in this whole thing, and I haven't been following.
It gets more interesting by the day. That's the funny part. I mean, the aftermath of the thing, the incident, was a bunch of horse crap. Who cares if they deflated some footballs? What kind of officials wouldn't notice that in the first place?
Right.
It also seems like they tried to sabotage the Patriots because the Ravens, now in denial, are saying, well, no, we didn't mention anything to the Colts. And the Colts say, oh, no, they told us. Check the footballs because Brady's letting the air out of this thing like there was no tomorrow. He's taking a machete to the balls on the sideline.
So nobody remembers anything now. I mean, basically...
Nobody knows squat.
The key witnesses don't remember a thing.
Nothing. And Brady really knows nothing.
Yeah, and his cell phone just happened to disappear.
So he took a sledgehammer to it arbitrarily. It just happened to be seconds before he was about to walk in and turn over whatever evidence he had in this case that could support him.
Who was the bald guy that Gotti had for his several trials where... He got the name the Teflon Don because nothing ever stuck. I mean,
I'm not sure. The guy may be a fine attorney. I've seen him, on other occasions. Bruce, yeah, something with an S, right? Like Sumler.
The guy was great, though, right? I mean, Gotti just would walk in. He'd say, next thing, dismissed, boom. I mean, there was a little...
But there was slight assistance there. I mean, you don't study this necessarily in law school. What class do you take in law school? Do you think at Yale Law they go, okay, here's what you do when one of the witnesses gets whacked? Here's what you do when you know two guys on the jury will never convict this guy in a million years and will threaten all of the other 10 people on the jury to make sure that Gotti gets off.
When the defendant has all of the children of the jury members
yes.
somewhere locked up in a house up in the mountains.
They got a picture of your kid. You're on a jury with piano wire around his neck. You look like the guy in Goodfellas, Maury, when they whacked him. One of your favorite scenes, right?
Maury's wigs. If it gets any worse up here, I'm going to have to go see Maury pretty soon.
But how much could you possibly forget? I mean, the evidence looks pretty curious. And who cares? As you said, I mean, you've hit it all along. Everybody's kind of got the same theme that if Brady had just manned up and said, okay, I did it. I didn't mean to go that far.
Right.
Don't blame these two guys. Make sure they still have a job. If they don't, I will take care of them for life. And
that's the
do
thing.
Whatever you're going to do.
That bothers me the most. That those two poor ball boys are out of a job. I mean,
the one guy was just a daily worker.
A day worker. He got a stick for coming in on a Sunday. That's nice.
$50, yeah.
$100, I think they said he was getting a day.
But he got to be on the sidelines for the Patriots.
Sure.
Kind of the premise I used when I first got my job vending souvenirs at Shea.
Get to go to every game.
I told my dad. I said, and the first game I worked was a Jets game. At Shea Stadium. They might have been playing Buffalo. It was like,
were you selling those big horns, those big plastic horns?
No, the Vuvuzelas, no. There was always a fat kid in right field that had one of those.
Yeah, I love that, the fat kid in right field.
And then they blew it, right, when they had him at the World Cup that year. Demonstrating further testimony to the fact that soccer is an outright joke.
And they blew those horns the entire
right, that was the only entertainment. That was like the halftime band. They had 20 fat guys with Vuvuzelas going...
It's like the Little Rascals when they had the International Silver String Submarine Band.
Yes.
Boom!
But I remember telling my dad, I said, hey, I don't care about the money.
No.
I just want to get in free to the games.
Just think. That was a brilliant idea for a young kid. You get to see every home game, yeah.
It taught you a lot, actually, because you had to go through a lot of official strings. And the biggest surprise and the biggest lesson in it all was, I think I made $11.15 my first game. Now, this was 1964.
That was before tips, though.
That was period. I was in commissions. You got, I think, 10% commission on souvenirs, and you made, I think, 12% if you were selling food because it was a lot cheaper.
Right.
And the stuff was pretty cheap, but, it was a high volume of stuff that you were selling.
What kind of crap were you selling? I mean, what'd you have, like little Mr. Mets? Or
what were we selling at the Jet games? Actually, you know what was funny? They had that same Jet helmet that you paid a certain familiar character that we know $400 for.
You mean the fake Joe Namath signed?
The fake Joe Namath, but you could buy like an actual Jet helmet that you could have worn down there. You could have been Sherman Plunkett, stuck this on your head and played.
Got out there.
You know how much
it was? It was a real Riddle helmet. I don't know how much.
$4.50.
You can't play.
And
with
the people
that.
would come down. The people would come down, and you'd hand them this beautiful helmet that was $4.50. And the guy would go, "What? Are you bleeping out of your mind?" And the trick was, you put it on the kid's head, and then he would run out the door. So now the guy was stuck buying like two of those. He had to fork over $9.
Yeah.
People would be fuming. And it's kind of relative to the idea. If you made $11 as a 14-year-old at a football game, it was like making $1.50 today.
You were like a millionaire
in 1964.
$11, you're like a million. I mean, a candy bar was a nickel. I mean,
kids had paper routes and they worked all week and they made like $4.
Right.
I'm coming home with 11 my first day at Shea.
And if it was a 4-game homestand, I mean, you could buy a car almost.
Well, and the baseball season was great and you made a lot more money too. But this game, first game working, make $11. You had to learn the ropes. You really learn how to hustle a little bit too, which you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
You had some of these kind of jobs. This was kind of more under an official auspices.
You wouldn't be talking about executive auto care, where we went to office buildings and took the fine luxury cars of executives under the premise that we were going to clean them and return them within a couple hours. Meanwhile, I got 8 of my buddies and we're zooming down the Jersey Shore with a cooler full of beer.
It's coming up later. Summer Love. With Jersey Cal Martinez, as we talk about the summertime. But
why is the back?
The funny thing about the $11 he made at Shea, right?
Yeah.
The next day he put 7 of it on a horse. That's where it all began.
Yeah, I hadn't fully explored my inner degeneracy at that point. I just studied the races.
Did you blow your entire paycheck on a horse named Amberoid?
No, I'd say any buyer. No, I didn't actually. But some of that money eventually did go to support the American Thoroughbred, I can assure you. I should own breeding shares in Stormcat for the money I've blown.
And that wasn't because you were a member of PETA, that's for sure. The only membership he had said OTB on it. That was it.
But anyway, so I make this $11. I come home, and and I told my dad the whole premise of this job was I get into the games for free. So
great
my
idea.
dad says, "Hey, so how was the game?" I said, "I didn't see a single play." Because once I got the sniff of making a little bit of capital, I thought, that's it. Who cares about the Jets? I think Joe Willie threw 4 picks that day.
He becomes Tony Montana the third year. We don't need no stinking Jets. We got to make the cash.
But this poor slob, you're right. I mean, I can relate totally. The guy, he's just, he's throwing the football at the referee. Not a hard job. Hey, Charlie, send me in another one, right? And you know how the refs try to act so official, like they're really doing a great job. How do they not notice these things are flatter than Parisian runway model?
I have no idea, but it's kind of off. Also, that the opposite team didn't notice there was anything wrong with it.
Well, they were kind of the ones supposedly, and now that's the whole conspiracy theory here.
I don't remember, but now they don't remember nothing.
They don't even remember they had Ray Rice on the roster.
They don't even remember they were in the playoffs.
No, that guy with the teeth that looks like Steve Wynn that owns the team.
Yeah.
Bershuti or something. I don't know what his name is, but anyway, something with a B, an Italian guy, and he's like, "What? We didn't say nothing." So that thing got pretty crazy. But Brady, I mean, he's really morphing into some kind of. There already were like aspersions being cast that maybe Giselle was so inside his head that he had become less of a man, if you will.
Yes.
I don't know how else to describe that. That he had been emasculated by Giselle. Literally.
Where were these rumors? I didn't hear these.
Because of the stuff he wears, and he's got the, foo-foo hairdo. It's not exactly your NFL stuff where, your average guy is a guy named Killer, and he's got a tattoo on his head, I kill you.
Yeah.
And there's Brady with his little sweaters and the stuff tied around his neck. He looks like
Smoking
he's
a
going
pipe,
to a polo
yeah,
match in
with
Palm Beach half the
with
time.
a pair of slippers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, it was a very good game today, but he's losing his mind.
Another glass of the Sonoma Couture.
Losing his mind. But it was interesting because I'm watching some of his training camp.
The way it looks, though, now that everybody's forgetting everything, I mean, he's not going to sit a game. He's going to be out there opening day. I mean, that's...
Who knows? Is there a line on that? That would be a good wager.
You'd bet on it.
I'm betting he's not there on opening day.
You've lost every bet you've made in the last 2 weeks.
It hasn't been good. And
no, it's not.
That
It's
cheesesteak thing, took off with a life of its own from yesterday here on the show.
You're sinking the Marlins single-handedly. I mean, this is not good.
They're going to lose again tonight, you would have to think. But if I was you,
yes,
I would go ahead and bet them. Of course they're going to beat Matt Harvey. They haven't scored a run in 3 weeks.
Oh, man.
They got one of the toughest pitchers in Major League Baseball that they have to go against tonight. Harvey, who started out like a house of fire, and then you always worry about that, the guy with the spaghetti elbow that has Tommy John.
Yeah.
Because they sometimes come back very strongly, and then in a short period of time, they go through some struggles. And now he's come back, he's kind of righted the ship. The Mets weren't scoring. They couldn't score at a women's prison.
Right.
But they weren't scoring any runs, and now all of a sudden they're like, it's home run derby with these guys. Everything's riding right out of the park. In an impossible place to hit a home run, which is this Marlins ballpark here. Have you been to that thing?
I have not.
It's a nice place to go. I mean, if they only would put a team out there. I know they tried this year. We had you were with me when I was talking to the great Craig Minervini of Fox Sports.
We went. The only game I remember going to you was the one about a year or two ago in the old stadium.
Oh yeah,
when you kept taking the wig off of that guy that were in a row in front of us.
Oh, remember that?
Yeah,
we got kicked out of there, and that was a disaster.
That was the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah. That was bad, right? We put those kids up to it. Remember, we bribed them
to pull
the hair off the guy in front of us who had one of those funny wigs. Yeah, he actually looked a little bit like Phil Spector.
It's like a bus of
He used the bribe word, which he's always.
It's like we're like a bunch of inner city kids that don't get out much, and they took us to a ball game. We're throwing things on the field. We're taking the toupees off of the guy in front of us. I mean, how old were we? It was only 2 years ago.
It wasn't too bad, yeah. I remember too. I mean, this was an incident that stuck out. You have a few things in your childhood that stand out.
Yes.
And this influenced me in terms of religion. I'm going to leave the names out, but there was a rabbi in town, and from our Hebrew school that we went to. We were all training to be rabbis, I guess. I don't know, but we had a trip to Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
So because it was some, I don't know, these oddball Jewish religious holidays pop up at any time. Like all of a sudden on a Tuesday, it's Yom Kippur.
Right.
Or whatever. And you got to eat like a filter fish and the bitter herb or something. But anyway, the rabbi's son, and we're all big Yankee fans then. This was maybe in the 50s. And the rabbi's son was a kid named Larry. And we're all taking a school bus there. And Larry, in typical Brooklyn fashion, actually, his father didn't want him to go because it was a religious holiday, and he was dying to go. He wanted to be one of the guys.
Sure.
So he rides to the stadium, Yankee Stadium, hanging on the back of the school bus, on the outside of the bus,
unbeknownst to the rabbi.
Unbeknownst to the rabbi. All right. So one day, a bunch of kids are talking. And we're talking about how great it was that this kid Larry was able to fake out his father
and hung
on the
back
holiday,
of the bus.
hung on the back of the bus.
How many miles was that trip?
Look, I mean, it was from Brooklyn to the Bronx.
What, were you feeding the kids sandwiches out the window?
We didn't even know at first that he snuck in and then he crawled under like a bunch of kids and took a seat. But his father was at the game, so he had to conceal himself the whole time. He was wearing a wig.
What is Larry doing today? Like walking tightrope?
I don't know that he's walking because we're talking, and
sounds like a daredevil in a circus or something. This kid
in Brooklyn, you would be sitting out talking outside at night. Young kids. And then every now and then, somebody would stick their head out the window and overhear the conversation.
Yeah.
And the rabbi happened to hear that his son Larry had snuck into the game that day.
During the high holy
and
holiday.
Literally came down, we're sitting on a couple of mailboxes on the corner, came down like you would see in some 50s movie where the guys are singing on the corner.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was. And he came down and beat the living crap out of this kid.
I love that.
I mean, an Adrian Peterson type beating that...
Which back in those days...
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is the rabbi. He's the guy that's trying to get us closer to God.
But it was back in those days, it wasn't abnormal.
No.
For somebody's father to end up, like if we were like in my school, used to hang under the street lights at night and sit around and BS
Your boy Wepner never took these kind of beatings.
I mean, my old man would come down and just grab, we didn't know which one he was after.
Your old man was tough.
Yeah, he was
I wouldn't want to take a shot from him today.
And even when we saw him coming, because there was 3 boys, we weren't sure which one he was coming to get. So you never knew if you were on the hook or off the hook. So you kind of stood there and hoped it was Keith, or the other one.
Yeah, yeah. Who's in trouble? That's the question.
Yeah, which
you
one
would
is
all
it?
run, and the kid Larry, he tried to run. But the rabbi chased him down like he was a sprinter, like he was Houston Batir.
Carl
back
Lewis.
in the days when they thought this kid was the fastest man they'd ever seen. He looked like Bullet Bob Hayes.
But that's great, right? I mean, that's summertime, hanging out on the streets, under the lights. Just
You know what? It's like that line in, what is the movie, Heat? Where De Niro is contemplating doing the robbery.
Yeah.
And he's talking to John Voight. And Voight says it's risky, because you got Pacino on your tail, and the guy's, dedicated, and he's going to find you.
Right.
And De Niro turns to Voight and says, it's worth a stretch. and that's the way Larry felt about it. He said, you know what? He came out like black eyes, bruises, everything. A couple of days later when he was finally let off, whatever that is, where you're, stuck in a house. You're grounded.
Yeah, you're grounded.
He was grounded. I mean, and grounded like big time. And he finally got out. He looked like Papillon by the time he got out. And we said, so? And he goes, it was worth a stretch.
Yeah. A Yankee game on a summer afternoon, it was worth it, right?
Unbelievable. Weekday afternoons, getting school to go to a Yankee game. It was awesome. So, I mean, that was the feeling. And you're thinking to yourself, this guy had to love it being on the sidelines there. It's a shame that he went down in flames. Yeah.
Being grounded in the summer, though, that's tough. I mean, that's especially up north,
Imagine. You couldn't ground me on a school day?
You waited all year, I mean, you waited for that first warm day to break 70, You couldn't wait.
Chicks in bikinis.
Memorial Day weekend,
right.
You're loading up the car, you're cruising down to the beach. And meanwhile, you did something stupid, and now you lose the car,
Grounded.
You lose the keys, you're grounded for the summer. I mean, back
So
then at least...
how did you annoy your mother enough to get her to let you off the hook? Because the mother was always sympathetic.
You could try to get
your
around.
dad was like, being in the military.
You couldn't get around him.
Yeah, he was tough.
But yeah, you could bribe the old lady, but still, if you didn't get back by the time he got home from work, you were a dead man walking.
It was,
it wasn't good.
Ma! All day long.
I remember the time that, I lost the car. It was one of those executive auto care deals where we picked up this guy's Corvette. And for a kid from my neighborhood to drive a Corvette, I mean, it was a huge deal,
Yeah.
So here I am, I'm doing 80 in a 25, and the local cop, Pat Sardone, pulls me over. And Pat knew me from playing on the CYO basketball teams.
Right.
So I said, Pat, give me the ticket. He says, I'm not giving you the ticket. I said, Pat, give me the ticket. He says, no, I'll be at your house at 5 o'clock. I go, Pat, no, anything but that. He says, I know. Yeah, I know what time your old man gets home. He gets home at 5 o'clock, and I'm going to be sitting right there when he gets home. I said, Pat, I'll pay you double. I'll do whatever I got to do. I said, I'll come cut your grass for a week. Do not show up at my house at 5 o'clock. I'll lose the car for the summer. Well, you bet your ass, Sardone's sitting out there at 5 o'clock. And I'm coming around a corner about 2 miles an hour in my 66 Mustang, and I see the cop car in front of the house. I go, this ain't good. This ain't going to be good. And the old man just,
gave you one of those.
Park it, keys. That was it. Summer's over. Thank God hitchhiking was okay back then.
Yeah.
So you could always grab a ride.
You didn't have to worry about getting strangled by some maniac.
You could still get down the shore, You needed to get down to the beach. You could still stick your thumb out and get a ride. But I lost the car for the summer.
All right, man, that hurts. That compromises your action, that's for sure.
Brutal,
what,
man.
a 66 Mustang?
Yeah, my 66 Mustang gone.
Oh, my God. Parked for the summer.
Summer, done. I mean, you know the chicks I could have gotten that thing?
Unbelievable. Speaking of delusional.
Yeah.
Hey. This struck me. What is up with Jerry Jones? I mean, who on earth does he think he is?
Is he really in a tower?
I'm watching. They had a big deal yesterday on ESPN. They had they're doing all these training camp things.
Right.
Some of them are kind of interesting. You're watching certain things and you're thinking, do these guys really practice? I mean, they got Tony Romo taking long snaps or shotgun snaps from some center who's going to be driving a bus by the end of the
and he's like up in
camp.
some tuna tower just looking at the team.
He has erected. I mean, it's one thing if you're Bear Bryant, right?
Right.
And you got the famous tower.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're. I mean, I can still hear Howard Schnellenberger telling me, "Yeah, the mayor used to be up there at the tower, and if you made a mistake, he was all over." But I mean, that's a legendary, iconic coach.
Right.
Here's Jerry Jones. He's the owner of the freaking team.
Right.
He's got a tower erected at the 50-yard line of the practice field from where he makes his observations about what's going on, and a bullhorn going, "You got to do that over again." Meanwhile, the coach is down there, speaking of being emasculated, this Jason Garrett, who he could fire on a whim. He's got his contract right over his shredder, and he's watching practice, and I'm thinking, what other owner in football is doing that? I mean, there's some crazy maniacs. I can't see anybody setting up a tower on a 50-yard line. How self-indulgent do you have to be about being the owner of this team to go ahead and make that move?
I don't know why he's just not gone ahead and named himself coach, right? I mean,
pretty much has, right?
He feels like he can do the job. Why do you need Garrett out there?
Remember he said in that Saudi Arabian
boys,
sheik?
I'm taking over the team. That's it. I'm taking it over. Right? I want everybody out. Jason, it was good. Get out. And then, boys, now listen to me.
And he's much more public now that the Cowboys actually made the playoffs.
Well, he looks a little better since the surgery. You know, he's like, it wasn't as tight. Like, it kind of loosened up a little bit.
Yeah.
When he first had it done, I mean, it looked like that face was going to crack,
I'm not sure that it's eased off any. The rumor is that's why he's in the tower. Part of the reason he wants to be like the big shot, and the other half is when he smiles, he passes gas. his face is wrapped so tight. I don't think Phyllis Diller, had that much plastic surgery. This guy is a freak. You can have all the money in the world, and it doesn't make any difference. That was the other thing we were talking about. It's interesting because he owns like a bunch of Papa John's pizza. And we were thinking today, like, why go to school? Like, all you kids that are thinking about going off to college, all you parents that are going to send it in, $120,000 for a couple of years so your kid can drop out and say, I'm going to go look around the world and find myself, Dad. Yeah, find this. But all you got to do to get rich in this country is make really crappy pizza.
Right.
This guy Illich that owns like every team in Detroit. He just fired our man Dave Dombrowski yesterday, as a matter of fact.
What is his pizza? That's a real bad one, isn't it?
Little Caesars.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, you go in there, it's like $4 for 4 of them.
I mean, it's almost as bad.
Yeah, you see guys go out there and they come out with 2 boxes of Little Caesars and they resume playing frisbee football. Now that frisbee catching is in the Olympics.
There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in pizza. Do you notice 7-Eleven was
Domino's? Same thing.
7-Eleven was on the borderline of going under. They started making pizzas now.
That's it.
Yeah, they're back. They're great.
I think it's those jalapeno hot dogs that they sell. What is that stuff they have on the little grill that goes around? Have you ever bought something?
No, those little. I see them. They look like.
It's tempting when you're really high, to go in there and say, "Hey, I'll try the Taquitos. They're only 3 for $2."
It looks like one of those Chinese handcuff things, though.
Horrible. Yeah. I mean, it looks like something.
Like you could stick your fingers in either side of them, and then you'd get stuck. Like you wouldn't be able to get out of there. I mean, I could just see some stoner
coming in there going, yeah, those look good.
No, I mean, but it's great. I mean, you could walk into a 7-Eleven at like 3 in the morning.
And get like 90 of those.
And there's some dude just like staring at the sandwiches, He's just like, wow. I go, dude, they're sandwiches. Like, pick one. The guy's looking at it like he's at the Wynn Buffet out in Vegas.
And then they get picky about it on top of it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the old days when they had to pickle pig's feet in the jar. I don't know if that may not be legal anymore. There was like some excess of formaldehyde.
Yeah,
They actually had those things floating in. And you'd be behind a guy.
Guys couldn't make it to their car. They start eating it. They die in the parking
this stuff. You're trying to get out of there. You want to get like a cup of coffee and
go
to work.
2 of them feet.
And then the lady goes in there and she picks one out with like a pair of tongs and wearing a surgical mask. And the guy goes, no, not that one. The other one, that's got to tastes like an equal amount of. What difference would it make which one you had? They're all disgusting. That's been eliminated. You don't see that anymore. It was like when they put the comb in the barbicide at the barbershop.
You got to be on bath salts or something to want to eat a pig's foot.
And then the guy uses the men's room, and you just have to go in there and urinate real quick. And you see him coming out of there. You're like, man, that's it. I think I'll hold it for a while.
You did.
Gas station food in general.
I'll just buy that empty bottle and sit there. I'll go pee in that. Out behind the building.
That was your man Rex, though. He would show up at a gas station, buy a cup of coffee, get a couple of those taquitos, and go coach the Jets. No wonder they bottomed out. What's he going to do in Buffalo? What's Rex going to do the first time he gets out of the car in Buffalo in December? And he realizes, as bad as it was, I mean, I know they had some cold winters in New Jersey the last couple of years, New York area. People are crying, complaining about the scorched earth theory, which, by the way, those taquitos are evidence of the scorched earth theory. But how's he going to feel when he realizes he took the job with the Bills? That's going to be tough. I mean, as great as he is with the people, I don't know. I think he's going to struggle.
I think he's good. I think he'll be fine up in Buffalo. I think Rex will fit right in.
He might be like a token Buffalonian.
Yeah, chicken wings, cold beer. Rex will be out there. I'm sure they got an OTB. I mean,
it was always great when the Dolphins played the Bills. And the people would come down from Buffalo. You could recognize them right away. First of all, they're the only people walking around the stadium with a size on the back of their shoes. You're like, it's got 10 and a hook on it. 2 different colors, right? Usually green, red in the front, and then beige in the back.
Yeah.
And then, you're thinking...
It says Don Carter on the front of it.
Well, no, you're thinking, wow, look at that. The bearded lady in the circus just showed up at the stadium. Must be the halftime entertainment. It was the owner, Ralph Wilson's wife. She was the hot babe that the zillionaire who was dying was dating.
I used to love that. You'd see that 400-pound guy squeezed into a Jim Kelly jersey.
Well, that was the same thing with Jet fans. They were the same way.
Yeah, our friend Leslie.
Al Toon.
Yeah.
The TO is over here and the ON is over
here.
Yeah,
the Toon is in T-neck, the T is in T-neck, and the N is in Newark.
Yeah, can you modernize what you're doing there with the jerseys? You would think that eventually you could get away from that the old Namath jersey, number 12. But they should pay constant homage to the guy. You got to meet him.
I did. I met Joe Namath, and
what was that like? I mean, you're a huge Jet fan, and this was recently.
Yeah, about a month or two ago. Spent about an hour with the guy in his backyard, looking at his seawall and dock, and couldn't have been a nicer guy. I mean, just great. I mean, it's kind of cool because when I was like 10, 11 years old, every kid wanted to be Joe Willie, the fur coat.
No doubt, yeah.
I mean,
we didn't know what we were looking
at.
The Fu
Manchu, he had two babes on each arm. But I met him about a month or so ago, and just a great guy. Took me around the house, showed me all the trophies. I mean, you thought you were hanging around with one of your buddies.
We didn't know what we were looking at the time. But getting back to my vending job at Shea,
yes,
the last year I was there was the year of the '68 championship game between the Raiders and the Jets.
Right.
And it's now well documented. People thought I was fabricating this story, but well documented. If you ever see that thing on Namath where the cops describing how he was, and they all bet the Raiders because they knew that Namath had been out on an all-night bender.
Nice.
The night before that game. So I had a souvenir stand at that time right at the gate where the players entered. And my buddy and I were selling those jet wool hats, green and white, $1.50 a shot.
Yeah.
We had sold like 1,000 of them because it was freezing as soon as you walked into the stadium that day. So all of a sudden, all the players had pretty much arrived.
No sign of Joe Willie?
Joe Willie, literally about a quarter to game time, comes in, and he's being held up by 2 slinky Swedish models. And he's wearing the fur coat, and literally you would have thought this guy was ready to pass out. And now, we found out, I don't know if you saw that documentary on Joe Namath. It was actually shot at that same Jupiter household.
Right.
And the chief of police in New York City had received a tip that Namath had walked out of a bar at like 2:30 in the morning and was smashed the night before the game, the Saturday night before the game.
Right.
And of course, it was legendary because he orchestrated a tremendous comeback against a really good Raider team. And the Jets won at the last minute when it looked like they were going to be defeated easily, and went on to win Super Bowl III. But no, he came stumbling in there, and whatever the reputation was, I can vouch for it. Because he rolled in there with 2 of the hottest babes I've ever seen at the time. They looked like they were, right off of the Rolling Stones list of throwaways. And,
right.
Sure enough, played a hell of a game that day after getting off to a really slow start. You can imagine it took them a while to come to.
Yeah, no.
Hey, before you guys take a break, can you say hi to Marcy for me and tell her I left her phone at the house?
Marcy, we love you. And Jory left his phone at your house.
Yes.
No, I've got her phone. The other phone is at my house.
All right, sounds good.
Marcy, you know what he's talking about.
All right, so we're going to talk about your legendary summertime behavior.
No, I wasn't. I just thought it was a good theme for today.
That's
in
coming
the summertime. Yeah, we'll do that later.
People are in the throes of summer. All right, we'll be back in a few minutes, finish things off, and a lot more to come here on the show. So stick with us here on SportsStreamNetwork.com. Jersey Kyle, soon to be the vacationing Jersey Kyle Martinez.
Soon to be back where I belong, back on the Jersey Shore. I can't wait. bunch of my friends up there that I think might be watching today because I did.
Oh, yeah?
I did put it out on Facebook.
What are you having now? You got boogie boards? What are you taking now?
I got beach chairs. I got boogie boards. I got suntan oil.
You're gonna pack
I
the
got
kids in the car. They must be happy you got a new car.
Kids want to get away. I mean, yeah, they're a little happy. They don't have to push it halfway to Jersey. So
Very
yeah,
nice.
no, that's going to work out. It actually starts and runs.
That's a good, nice thing. A whole family vacation. Pop's going to be there?
No, the old man's bailing this year.
He doesn't do it? What about your mom?
He caught a couple bad waves last summer at 86.
Oh, yeah?
And so he's going to chill out and stay down here this year. He's out.
All right, we'll give you the full spectrum and Kyle's theory on summer legendary behavior.
Yes.
That's coming up next here on SportsStreamNetwork.com. All right.
All right.
Mutation, man. Or so.
Yeah, went that fast, huh?
Well, there were a lot of complaints that we went over the time limit yesterday because
There was?
people were saying, "Hey, we wanted to see the next show on SportsStreamNetwork.com," but we are the show on SportsStream.
Well, no, tonight there's another edition, isn't there?
Could be. I mean, just
concert on Musician Stream.
Oh, Musician Stream. Where are you guys going to be? Mickey's?
Yes, tonight
Mickey's,
we
all
are.
right. You saying that's a pretty hot spot?
No, I love Mickey's. I mean, it's a great spot. It's right over there by Pompano Park. You
Yes.
go for a few races and then stop in there,
There
have a
used to be
few
a place,
cold
right,
ones.
where you would see like broken down old harness drivers.
You'd
no?
get some hot tips in there. There'd be guys at the bar. Bet the 2 in the 3rd race, kid. You can't
Yeah.
go wrong.
And then you see the guy get in his car, and it was like
Meanwhile, the
ready
car's
to
being
catch fire.
the guy's
Yeah,
car's being
rebooted.
repossessed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's always a
the
bad
market.
place to get information. Right? But anyway, they're going to be doing. What kind of band you have there tonight, Jory? At
Tonight is a
musicianstream.com.
band called Heavy Gravy.
Heavy
Heavy
gravy,
gravy, man.
Yeah.
I'm into that.
Yeah, man. I think we should just zoom on down. I mean,
If you're going to have gravy, why have it
you
watered
don't-
down?
you don't want light. You don't want light.
I want it
gravy.
like the oil that used to be in my old Toyota when it finally had the engine seized.
Yeah,
Right there in 95.
I remember that Toyota. Yeah.
All right, welcome back to the show. A bunch of things going on in the world of sports, and we want to get to Kyle's summer behavior.
I just really wanted to sing that stupid song. I wanted you to go.
All right, let's do it. Let's get it out of the way here, and then we'll see how far it takes us.
Come on, I've been practicing this thing. In the summertime when the weather is fine, you can reach right up and touch the sky. We got women on our mind. We got women on our mind. How was that?
That's it? We waited all day for that?
Hey man, come on! That's all I could
I
muster.
don't know.
right
Is
now.
that the Tonight Show on the phone there? They want to have you on the debut of Stephen Colbert when he
Yeah, no,
starts
that-
that thing. Very good.
What do we? What else we got going?
We
I
got
mean,
a lot
I-
of stuff going. You know what? One of the great things happened to me last night. I went to a little local dive right across the street here from where I live in Lighthouse Point, Florida.
Yes.
Called the Fish Shack, which
great
is a legendary
fish.
place.
Yeah,
I'm telling
fish.
these guys about it, Jory and Rick. And we're trying to get those guys over there. They had just come back. I mean, they're so good that they could take like a 4-week vacation,
Oh, nice,
not
yeah.
miss a beat, and have a line out the door the minute they return.
I'm trying to figure out how I could do that, but
Well, I mean, you know what? It's a great spot, no question. Even while battling the gout, I still couldn't resist their oysters. Right? My foot is blown up like a balloon. It looks like I dropped a 50-pound weight on it. And Mustang says, how about
battling the gout. It's like he's in the ring with the Cassius Clay.
Believe me, this is a worse opponent. I'd rather fight Clay in his prime.
Then fight the gout.
The gout's bad, right? You had it for the first time. You didn't even know what it was. You thought some insect.
I thought it
got
was. I
inside
thought
your,
I thought I was bitten by a large spider, or something.
That's what I thought the
Yeah.
first time it hit me. I don't get them that frequently.
So
the
anyway,
attacks.
you limped over to the fish shack.
Literally, I couldn't even put a shoe on my foot. I go over to the fish shack. I get in there, and naturally, the first thing they say is, "How about the oysters?" They had it already ordered it for me. But
Yeah.
guy says hello to me. He says, "Hey, DeFo, how you doing?" And I looked at it. It was like the typical thing, like when a guy says hello at the track. I mean, having a small modicum of local celebrity,
Right,
it's
right.
not uncommon for guys that you don't know to, say, "Hey, DeFo, how the hell are you?"
Yeah, people recognize you.
Right,
I mean,
right,
it's,
which is kind of weird. Maybe from the many appearances now at SportsStreamNetwork.com, right?
He
They
is
have a
becoming
face-
a local fave. I
They
mean,
have, they have the face to attach to the voice, and they go,
Right.
man, you're ugly. But anyway, so I go back in. It's a little tiny
you got a
place.
face for radio, kid.
This is literally the definition of a hole-in-the-wall place. I mean, I'm surprised this guy Fieri, if he has any credibility whatsoever, this should be his #1 show for the upcoming season of that Diners, Dives, and
Oh yeah,
whatever that is,
Right.
graveyards that he does, where he goes. And the food always looks great in these places.
diners, dives, and drive-ins. Or
Yeah,
something like
and he
that. Yeah.
finds great places. I don't think there's any question about
No,
it.
he's
Legendary
He's
places.
actually stopped at a couple greasy spoons up in New Jersey that I've been to.
He's
so-
a Wells rep.
Yeah, he did a whale's rib up there, but I would have to say that the Fish Shack, in terms of quality of food, blows away the whale's rib.
Right.
And is extremely reasonable. So anyway, I come back in. You have to wait outside. I had to wait about 15, 20 minutes to sit down. There's only like room for about 20 people, including the counter.
Right.
So they had a big party in the corner where this guy had said hello to me. And I come back in after, you're outside schwitzing like a maniac, and people are, literally passing out, waiting to get into the Fish Shack.
Right.
And I come back in, and I recognize it's Zach Thomas, the
Wow.
former Dolphin great.
Yeah, the Miami Dolphin
This guy, I don't know that
linebacker.
he's Hall of Famer, but he's a Hall of Fame human being. He really is a great guy.
Oh yeah, no, he is a good dude.
You had some experience with him.
I
right?
did. I bid a seawall job for him too, and but ended up not getting the project, but spent some time. Great guy.
Great guy, and you actually, and this is good to see because you usually think like you're watching Ballers with The Rock, and it's a really fun show, entertaining.
Right.
But they're just showing this extravagance, and all of the players blowing their entire wad of cash before they even get out of the league.
Right.
Zach is just the opposite, right? He's like from some small town in Texas. He has his first nickel literally in a coin collection somewhere.
Every penny he earned, probably invested it right.
And here he is at the Fish Shack. Could eat anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Cramped into a corner there with 4 kids.
But you know what I mean? The Fish Shack, the food is so good there that, even though it's not expensive.
This guy looked like he could play today. I'm thinking, how long has it been since he's been in the NFL? It has to be... Is it 10, 15 years already?
Well, the guy probably eats nothing but like vegetables and
what
good
he was
food
into?
Probably a health regime.
The hyperbaric chamber. He had one of his own. He was really into that whole health thing, which oddly you'll remember the infamous Victor Conti.
Yes.
Of Balco fame.
Yeah.
There was a guy that was inventing all the wild drugs that Barry Bonds was taking. Nobody could detect him. I mean, you had the U.S. Association for Drug, whatever it is, USADA.
Right.
And they literally had guys living with Bonds, and they couldn't figure out what he was doing. So
they just knew his head kept getting bigger and bigger.
This Conti was a genius, right? So he goes to prison for a short period of time. I guess he ratted out enough people that his sentence was relatively light. Considering the crime.
That guy looked like a criminal, didn't he, Conti?
Yeah, he had that
little
mustache,
skinny pencil mustache, the beady eyes. Yeah, he looked like a gangster.
Like
from
Dom DeLuise or something.
Yeah, like a 40s guy. Yeah, we didn't do nothing, you see. We didn't do nothing. and you're just like, and that's the way he answered questions,
literally, if they went ahead and stamped his tongue, with one of those seals, you still wouldn't believe a word he said, right? If they notarized it, unbelievable. So he disappears for a while. He was away for a while, as they say, and he resurfaces later as a boxing trainer. Not a boxing trainer, but a physical. Now they all have physical advisors.
Oh yeah.
And he was working with a guy that was really good.
Antonio Margarito.
He had some really good. Nonito Donaire was the name of the fighter. Really good, like lower weight class fighter. 115, 118 in that category. Kind of faded now, but at one time, he was just absolutely great. And he had this guy. This was his thing. He had him in the hyperbaric chamber.
Oh, all right.
Which Zach Thomas swears by. And I'm telling you, people, there might be something to it. This guy looked like he just stepped onto the Dolphins playing field as a rookie, only with a better haircut.
Yeah.
Remember, he looked like Barney Rubble.
Yeah. He had that square hairdo going.
And he was the exact type of guy you'd figure would be anything but the prototype NFL linebacker. 5'10".
Right.
Probably weighed, 230, 240.
But solid guy, just all muscle, low to the ground, yeah.
His arms were the size of, one of these picture frames in here. Just unbelievable. Looked in great shape, though. Good guy.
Yeah.
But, and it was advantageous, as you were saying, because the place that you went to see him about the seawall was actually in a famous area that would be like the equivalent of the richest section of Beverly Hills, the Hillsborough Mile here, where your mansion is on the ocean.
Right.
And then you still have what's called the Intercoastal here in Florida on the other side to put your yacht.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no.
So congratulations to him, but he looked great.
Yeah,
he was
congratulations
a big fan of yours as well.
For not blowing all your money. Congratulations.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no, it was absolutely great. Now, the other thing that's happening today, and this pertains to a little bit of that Jersey Shore stuff that you're going to experience,
yes,
is that it's National Mustard Day. And we got into a great debate today, getting back to the 7-Eleven food. You're not going to be smearing any Grey Poupon on one of those taquitos that you get at the 7-Eleven. But
when I thought I was down at the courthouse today, not for anything that
they have a little hot dog cart out there.
And the soubrette guy was out there. I wanted to get a picture.
You grab one?
I wanted to get a picture of it anyway. No, I had lunch already, but I saw the hot dog cart in honor of National Mustard
National Mustard Day, which you would think would be insignificant. It'd be like National Matzo Ball Day.
I think you brought enough attention to it today, though.
I did, because I actually
the radio show, now this show.
I was particularly embarrassed to.
What are we supposed to do? What can I do tonight? Just go get a hot dog and slap a bunch of mustard on it?
It became an issue about the hot dogs because there are people here, and I don't know if there's anybody in this room. Because if so, I would like you to leave immediately.
The Midwest guys, you're going to get the
and put ketchup on a hot dog. That's a disgrace, isn't it? And we were talking about it in the context, obviously, on a sports show, of you used to look forward to going to the ball game, And part of the appeal of going was to see the game, yes, because you were big fans, but
Right.
you couldn't wait. You were salivating over the idea of getting a hot dog and a beer. And now that proposition is not so promising.
Well, it's not that, when you grew up, the guy actually had
He had
this
a thing on his-
monster
yeah.
box.
Right.
And he would take those hot dogs out of the
Spear
water.
one out.
Take that stick and stick it in the mustard and
He had the buns ready to go.
Yeah, he'd slap the mustard on
Right.
there. Yeah, I mean,
It-
now, what do you get? You get like a
Now they got it in aluminum foil.
Like a
It's wrapped
tin foil
up,
bag. The guy throws it at
Could be
you.
anything, yeah.
It hits you in the head.
Even at the stands where they should be rolling those things on a grill, no? I mean, they're charging you enough money you could cook the damn thing.
No,
right?
they're all nuked. Everything's microwaved. You get it in a bag, the thing's all shriveled up.
Shriveled up, the bun is soggy, and as my dad said, always said to me, cast ye bread upon the water, and ye shall get back soggy bread. And that's the worst thing you could do to a hot dog.
It's almost like these things
soggy
came
bread.
out of a cup at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
And then the beer, I mean, they have like, they pour you half a beer there at the ball game. It's $11, and then you see the guy just pour a water right in there. They don't even try to disguise it.
The beer's horrible. I mean, it's a shame.
And then you're slapped with a $17, $18 tab.
What happened to Harry M. Stevens? I mean, that guy at least would give you a bang for your buck.
I think he was up on criminal charges. No.
Harry,
That's who I worked for, Harry M.
Harry
They
M.
were in everywhere. They had to be. It was strange because a lot of the people in executive positions for that company.
Yes.
I mean, not to imply anything or get in any jackpots, but
Yeah.
they all had names that ended in vowels. They really did. There was something going on there.
And they talked very
Guys with no education were like the president.
and they
Harry
spoke
M.
very,
Stevens.
very softly.
Yeah.
was
It's
very-
like, you're going to sell those or do I have to take them back?
Hey, kid, you better get rid of them hot dogs. They're
I'm telling you, if you don't eclipse $100 today in sales, it's not going to last.
You're going to
long.
be working here no more.
Yeah,
kid.
no, it was
Your
rough.
days are numbered.
Are they still in action, Harry M. Stevens?
No, I think they're gone, but they had great clam chowder.
Tell you
I
what,
mean,
it was a
the
great-
Harry M. Stevens chowder was the best.
It was a great company to work for. I mean, I made plenty of capital as a kid. I mean, during the baseball season, it was terrific. You had to be 16 to work the night games, and that was almost like, turning 15 for an Hispanic
Oh
girl or
yeah,
something.
man! If you could work the night games, there must have been a lot
Night
of cash.
games were big,
Yeah.
and the problem was back then. I mean, all the complaints about baseball games taking too long. It would be like Seaver versus Koufax,
Right.
at Shea, and the game would take an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, they'd strike out the sides.
Seaver versus Gibson.
Right. Great
And there
pitcher.
were great pitchers around at the time. Steve Carlton, I mean, just tremendous pitchers over the years that you had coming out of those eras. And it was a heck of a lot of fun to be a part of it. And that was the thing, though. You're right. The guy had the hot dog. It was ensconced in the greasiest,
Bubbling molten water.
There was no, the health department.
The steam that would come out of there, like he'd open up the lid and the steam would come out. I mean, the water was still
It was
boiling.
great. Yeah, and the health department refused to examine it.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't want
They
to
said,
test
"Listen,
that.
I'm not sticking my finger in that."
That water came right out of the Bayonne River or something. I mean, I don't know where
It was Hudson River water.
Hudson
they
River
proudly,
water.
would say, "Hey, listen, we cook our hot dogs in Hudson River water."
Yeah, I know. I see those Brooklyn water bagel. What is that?
25 cents.
Yeah.
And then the guy would come with the beer. It was 50.
Right.
And he had the big can opener, and he would make they would just literally like crush the top of the
Oh, I
can.
like, yeah, when
Pour
they
it
used to
right down the
open
middle
it,
of the
yeah,
cup.
they would just dump
the
it right
foam
in.
would go flying. It would soak some old lady that was sitting in the
You're
aisle
bringing
seat.
back great memories. I want to go to a Met game now, back at Shea, and
You know what? Those were the days. It's just not the same anymore. You get the
Yeah.
full ballparks. And from comfort standpoint, remember when we had those 2 seats at Fenway your brother got us?
Oh, yeah, that was
we were at
great.
the royal wedding of
Kevin, the great Kevin Martinez with the Seattle Mariners hooked us up, yeah. Got
Hooked us up. We're right behind home, but in a section, I don't know. I mean, not that you have to have air conditioning, obviously, since we're doing this show under extreme heat conditions. But,
Yeah.
that place was a dump, Fenway. All of those years of wanting to go, and then the seats, I think they were screwed in there when the Bambino got traded.
Yeah, no, it was, but it definitely was a throwback to,
It was great. I mean, it was a great experience, and they too had the hot dogs now in aluminum foil.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah, no, Fenway dogs are legendary, as are Dodger dogs and those hot dogs at Shea. But in honor of National Mustard Day, who could possibly allow anybody to be in their company when they put ketchup on a hot dog?
I don't know. It's
Ketchup
just-
on a hot dog. You, Rick? Ketchup? No.
Unless there was sauerkraut.
My producer there, young Chris, you know the kid.
Yeah,
puts ketchup and mayonnaise,
and mayonnaise on a hot dog. No,
What's
a little
wrong
rough.
with this guy?
A little rough.
Mustard.
He probably puts jelly on tuna fish. I don't. I don't know. Maybe that's how he became this wild man that he is.
Give me another peanut butter and fluff another sandwich there, baby.
Right.
It's like Elvis.
You're off to the Jersey Shore.
I am. Yes,
Yeah?
I am.
And,
Tomorrow, I'm on the
you're
road.
jumping in a car. How do you do the trip? What's the trip advisor say?
The TripAdvisor says
Says
jumping in a
don't
car.
drink and drive.
Yeah, I'm not
for
drinking
one,
and
yeah.
driving.
You don't
Drive
drink
is-
at all anymore. You're
Yeah,
crazy.
drive as
Are you going to
far
break
as-
that now that you're on the Jersey Shore? Have a couple of beers with
There
the
will be
boys?
some arm twisting, for me
Isn't
to
that
do.
what triggered this to begin with?
What's that?
This sabbatical you took from alcohol.
I went up to the Jersey Shore and ran into a bunch of high school buddies of mine, and from the minute I got off the plane till the minute I got
Trash,
back,
yeah.
drunk the whole entire
Not
time.
uncharacteristic.
So
of
I
your
took a
business.
little break when I got back, and it's been 2 months since that
2
trip.
months.
Yeah,
Haven't had a drink.
yeah.
Like one beer maybe in there.
No, yeah, maybe I had a half a beer or something, but other than that, no.
Any old girlfriend's going to be stalking you when the car arrives in town? I mean, across the state line, and they immediately serve you with a subpoena.
Yeah, the old girlfriend stuck. It's like a scene from Goodfellas when the helicopter's
That's
flying overhead, and you kind
You
of
see, welcome to New Jersey. And there's a car tucked into the bushes
some
with a
girl
cop
with a
car.
bazooka.
Like, that's him.
That's the guy that left me at Middlesex College. No, I don't think there'll be any of that. There's nobody stalking me anymore. Those days are gone.
God. No, I think
But,
there still is.
no,
I've
no,
seen
they're
some of
over.
those
They're-
posts on Facebook.
I kill you.
Oh, Kyle. I miss you so
No,
much.
I don't think you've ever seen that. But
No, all right.
what are you going to do? I mean, what do you got going for the
I
rest
don't
of
know what we're going to do. We're going to have to find somebody to fill in if we
There
can.
you go. Yeah, find
Maybe
a
Jory will sit in and do the show.
find
I
a
don't know.
replacement. The boys up at Steel Fudge.
We're going to lose half our audience because they're all your friends.
Yeah, right. That's right. They can come see me live.
I'll be dying over here. Literally dying over
No,
here.
you'll be fine. The boys up at Steel Fudge on the Atlantic City
Send
Boardwalk.
me some, will you, guys? I mean,
If you've been sending fudge, we
Don't
just want to
send it to
say,
Jory.
don't send it to Jory's house. We're going to give you a
loses
new
everything,
address.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's not lost. He's eating it. I mean, come on, let's
oh, no
face
doubt.
it.
And who could blame him, right?
Yeah, no, it's delicious. But
And,
I mean,
and
we'd like
he's
to
not
get.
one of these guys that puts ketchup on a hot dog, so he knows good food.
Listen, if you guys need anything, fudge brought down this way, I will be passing through. We'll be able to pick it up. I'll load up the back.
I
of
can't
the,
wait to see that. I wish I could go with you just to see her scream, "It's him!" And then, what are those Jersey State Troopers? They wear those goofy blue hats that look like they're like Smokey the Bear.
No,
or
no,
something.
no. They have actually a regular, flat.
You've
top
seen
with a-
enough of them in your rear view
Yes,
mirror.
I've seen a lot of them tapping on my window.
Are you, do
with
you, have,
the
do you still have
flashlight.
on your new car? Do you have the interchangeable license plates?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, rotate it. Put Pennsylvania. Nice. They'll never stop us. They'll think we're Amish people.
Yeah. You have any fireworks or narcotics?
We'll try to sell them a heater that we made ourselves.
Yeah, no, it's
Ships Registry Bahamas, right?
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
it.
it's all about. All right, well, you have fun on your trip. We'll miss you. When are you going to be back?
parts unknown. I think I'm
We
going to
may be out of business by the time you return, so
Well, that's all right.
if
I'll
this
have-
is your last show.
I
It
will
was a
be
great
bringing,
show, and
you're getting paid with fudge. I'm bringing back a load of Atlantic City fudge and crumb cake from the Jersey Shore.
yeah. Jory promised me a case of Knishes from Yona Schimmel's in Brooklyn.
And a couple of pork roll sandwiches.
Yeah.
Taylor.
All right, we'll
hey.
see you guys tomorrow. Jersey Kyle will be on the Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
and,
I'll call in.
we'll try and do something. We'll figure out what we're going to do. It won't be as much fun, I can assure you people, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, well, no, I'll be back in 1 week, and then I'm
1
back.
week. All
Yeah,
right.
1 week.
Sounds good. All right, we'll see you tomorrow here on SportsStreamNetwork.com. For Jersey Kyle Martinez, Jory, Rick, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 4:30 here on SportsStreamNetwork.com.